All right, let's start with some injury reports. SNL, Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. Special time because the Texans practice a little bit later today. Let's start with the Texans injury report. Some big names on there. Two probably not to be too concerned about in Derek Stingley and Will Anderson. Will Anderson was even described as rest. DeMeco Ryans, when asked about it, we know he doesn't say a lot about injuries, but he didn't seem to be too concerned. And then you have Nico Collins limited with the knee. I will say this too, from an observation standpoint, CJ Stroud was limping and he had a sleeve on his leg.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
So wait, hold on, Landry. You're telling me that a Nick Caserio run team might be hiding a quarterback injury?
I'm just telling you that CJ Stroud was limping and he had a sleeve on his leg. And when he walked into his press conference, I noticed the sleeve right away. And then when he walked out, I noticed a limp right away. So I don't know what that means, but that's not on the injury report. And that is another thing. And I think that's another example of why the bye may be arriving at the perfect time for this team. But he was definitely limping and he definitely had a sleeve on his knee.
I'll be interested to see if maybe that was something that, hey, he felt at the end of practice and then put that on as a precaution, and maybe it shows up tomorrow, or maybe it's just a good old-fashioned steal from the Patriots, hide a quarterback injury like they did for Tom Brady all those years. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on as you go forward. And, they Thursday's their hard day. Thursday's their ramp-up day. So that's the day where if you are worried about Nico Collins at all, he needs to practice. If you are worried about, Will Anderson after rest, he probably needs to go out there Thursday. Like Thursday's the ramp up day. Wednesday just kind of sets the tone for the week. And I'm not super worried about any of these guys, even Stingley, because he had the one limited walkthrough practice and still went last week. So I'm not super worried about many of these.
Yeah, when you compare it to what's on the other side, I mean, it's it's very moderate. And let's look at the Ravens injury report. As expected, Lamar Jackson does not practice. Kyle Hamilton limited with the groin. Marlon Humphrey, he's not going to practice. He's got a calf. We already mentioned Lamar. Emory Jones limited with the shoulder. Nose tackle Travis Jones limited with a knee. Linderbaum with the calf limited. Patrick Ricard, the fullback, did not practice. He has a calf. Roquan Smith's not going to play. He's got a hamstring. Ronnie Staley has an ankle. He did not practice. Brett Urban, another one of their defensive guys, finger limited. Kyle Vanoy, hamstring limited. Devontae Walker with an oblique did not practice. And then cornerback Nate Wiggins, elbow, did not practice.
I mean, I think Patrick has the Baltimore Methodist. I mean, it's a mash unit over there. And, I think similar thing with some of their limited guys. Like, do I believe Kyle Hamilton's playing? Yeah, I do. But we've kind of gotten the indication that a handful of these guys aren't going. So we've sort of gotten the indication that Roquan's not going because it's a hamstring. And same thing with Marlon Humphrey, that he's not going to go. So they've probably got some roster moves, but Awuzie, there is another one of their corners for him to not practice and it to be what's going on with the soft tissues over there in Baltimore? Obviously, the big one is Lamar. And Ian Rappaport had a very weird report today on TV. He didn't even tweet about it. That's how I know it wasn't that serious from him. They asked him about the Browns and the other quarterback situations in the North, and he had this big thing about the Browns, and he's like, oh, and I don't know where this Lamar Jackson 2 to 3 weeks things come from. He wants to play. Yeah, I'm sure he does want to play, Ian Rappaport. What kind of thing is that? He's like, yeah, but he's got the hamstring injury, so we'll see. Well, he didn't practice on Wednesday, so that's not good for Lamar. And that initial report was a couple of weeks, and Rappaport was like, I don't know where you get 2 to 3 weeks from. Well, because it's a hamstring injury, Ian. That's where you get 2 to 3 weeks from. So that's the one. You're watching QB the whole time, and then I don't know that many of these are going to turn in their favor. Maybe Ronnie Stanley, because it's something it's not something that he got injured in the games. Like maybe it turns for them. They have their left tackle, but it's a rough situation over there in Baltimore from a health standpoint.
And the question is here on SNL is outside of Lamar, who has the most impact in this game if they miss. I think you touched on it. We're not going to count Roquan and Marlon because they're already out.
Yeah.
And Matabike, I would say Ronnie Stanley, obviously. It goes without saying, if you face the best edge duo in football with Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter, and you don't have your tackle, whether you think he's not what he once was or whatever, I would say that would be the one for me. You might have a different answer, though.
It does feel to me like it's more than likely Ronnie Stanley. Before we found out it was rest for Will Anderson, like when I first thought about this question, it was like, well, if Will Anderson misses, like it's not Lamar level impact, but it's certainly a huge impact for the Texans. But with it being rest on Wednesday for Will Anderson, it doesn't feel like there's danger that he's going to miss. So I would go Ronnie Stanley on this one. And I understand he's had probably a dip in overall production compared to who he used to be the past couple of years, but you'd still rather him be in there than your backup guy. Against not only what the Texans do when it's Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter, but some of the other things that you just would rather have a guy who's played a lot and had a lot of success go up against, what the Texans could throw at you with blitzes and other looks and things like that. So Ronnie Stanley for me, if we're not including Roquan and Marlon Humphrey. And Van Noy, I would think, is trending the right direction. He was one of their better pass rushers. And he's been banged up for a few weeks and is coming back from that. So again, not a new injury for him. He's coming back, but he's someone to watch a little bit because he could use some speed on those Texans tackles. So if he missed, that'd be bad for them, but I think he's going to end up probably getting a shot to play in this one.
Yeah. And I just want to, I kind of want to like take a step back after we hear DeMeco Ryans. Cause I think we need, which one's the one that's reality? I'm not big Matrix. Red pill is the reality one, right?
I never remember which one's
it's blue pill.
I never remember which one is the wake up to the real world.
Chad, help us. We need to wake up. I'm seeing things right now. I see the light. Just tell me which pill I need to take.
Yeah.
And
the truth is the red pill.
Okay.
The ignorance is the blue pill.
Okay. Well, I feel like there's a lot of blue pills going around town, but I think we need to red pill and kind of take a step back when it comes to the Texans. We'll get to that in a sec. First, though, let's hear from DeMeco Ryans on the Lamar Jackson bit, whether or not you expect Lamar Jackson or not. Here is look tired, kind of. Tired DeMeco Ryans. This is tired DeMeco Ryans talking about what to expect, whether Lamar's out there or not.
For us, we're specifically focused on the Ravens and how they run their offense. So that's what it'll be. That's our preparation. That's what we have to go off of. It'll be the Ravens film. So that's what we'll go off of. And we're operating as if Lamar is playing. We'll see what happens throughout the week, but we're not playing in the what ifs and that. Right now, we're focusing on Lamar and the dynamics that he brings to the game.
Yeah, that's probably smart. It's not something that you want to get caught by surprise.
I want to play poker with DeMeco Ryans because I don't think that was a good poker face. He did not sell me that they're operating like Lamar Jackson's playing. He's like, we're operating like Lamar's going to play. I want to play poker with DeMeco Ryans. That was not a good poker face.
Well, he had some good things to say about the Ravens. And here's him talking about their offense.
They're an explosive unit, very explosive on offense. Although they've lost some games, they scored a ton of points. And, they have explosive players all across the field. Whether it's at the wide receiver position, all right, with Zay Flowers, Bateman, Hopkins, with their tight ends, also explosive players, and then the backs as well. Henry is an explosive player. They have people that you have to keep eyes on. You have to be aware of everyone, and of course, we all understand Lamar and the caliber player that he is. Right, he's an outstanding player, one of the best players in our league, one of the best players of this generation. He changes the game tremendously, and he's done an outstanding job with that team.
Yeah, but I mean, without him, they're not good. And that's
like the danger of saying oh, look at what these guys have done. Don't underestimate them. Yes, but it's Lamar delivering them the football. It's Lamar getting the ball deep, pushing it against opposing defenses, making them account for his legs.
Demanding attention.
Yeah.
Like he's not the straw that stirs the drink. He's the drink. Like it's not
right.
It's not he's
the drink, the glass, and the ice cubes.
Yes, he's all of that, and the lemon that you can add there and squeeze, lemon, lime, whatever the heck you want to throw in it. So he can say what he wants about that. There is something that I think I want to take a step back and be realistic. But first, I know something that everyone can agree on. That's TDECU. Shout out to TDECU for riding along with us on Reaction Monday and throughout the football season post-game show, all that. Right now, TDECU, they have a hell of a thing going on where if you're ready to upgrade your gear for the Texans with the TDECU debit card, you'll save 15% at the Texans online team shop. No matter what you want to wear, you can show your Texans pride, score savings while doing it. And that's not all they got. They got a lot going on there. Visit tdcu.org/Texans. A lot of viewers, listeners have already done that. Memberships required, insured by NCUSA. And this is what I like about it. Look at this. It's not the old logo, man. Ooh. Look at that. Look at that pretty debit card right there. And you got the 15% gear. They guide you through everything. That's the good thing about being a TDECU customer. You can see up here, hell, they got the routing number. I feel like I have to go on used to have to go on a damn witch hunt when I wanted to find my routing number. Maybe I should have probably remembered it, but it was like finding a needle in a haystack. It's right there on the top left. So TDECU, always attention to detail. And that is a very pretty debit card.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's got fantastic perks, and that's not it. It's your credit union. The perks, they're working for you when you become a member at TDECU. Man, they take care of you. And there's 15 greater Houston area locations where you can walk in and do it. They've got the great online portals, mobile banking, all that, man. It's fantastic. You do not want to miss out on the great opportunities with our friends at TDECU.
All right, so I think we need a red pill real quick, and thank you to the chat for making it clear what the red pill is. But we do need to take a step back because I think it is the perfect time for the Texans to be able to win a game, gather themselves, and figure out, which way they go from here. So assuming that they go 2-3 and they do win this game against Baltimore, which they're now favored to do, I think the bye week comes at a perfect time. I think what's true 5 weeks into the season is very rarely true 10 weeks into the season, 12 weeks into the season, 15 weeks in the season for a number of reasons. Teams get better, teams get worse, teams get injured, all that. But I do kind of want to sit. I want to get kind of I'm hearing all these questions directed at DeMeco Ryans. I'm hearing some of the dialogue, and it's like, well, do you feel like the offense is turning the corner? Do you feel like you're turning the corner? Do you feel like, things are looking better? The only thing that's changed about this Texans team is they've played shitty teams lately. And the Titans suck and the Ravens suck. This version of the Ravens with that injury report is as bad as the Titans. That's fine because your win-loss record is going to matter. But this notion that the offense turned it around and, do you feel like you're finding groove? And DeMeco's talking about communication. Let's take a step back and be realistic, okay? The Jags dropped 6 passes. That game probably shouldn't have even been close had they made the plays that they should have made. The Titans game, before that, 2nd and 33, the Titans had missed 2 field goals. It should have been a tie game. Mm-hmm. It was a punt on that series away from the Titans having a chance to win the game or to take the lead in the fourth quarter of the game. And the wheels ended up coming off. I'm not saying this to say that this is what the case is going to be in 5 weeks. I'm just saying right now, the Texans, they're not any better now than they were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. They're going to get the bye. They're going to get to gather themselves. The defense is getting better. That's their superpower. But this notion that there was like some sort of pivotal, the tide turned and all that, that's not the case. And much like you hear a lot of like I find it very interesting, and I don't know why. I think I bring up Vandermeer now because he brought you up like a chicken shit that early on, and I know we're over it, but like now I just listen to what he says and I like counter because I thought that was ridiculous when you said when he indirectly said the Nick Chubb thing. But I will listen to them when I'm going in, and he was setting it up at the start of the year where it was like, and I think DeMeco kind of feeds into it, where he was like, and I like Vandy, but I'll bring up his opinion since he brings up yours. They played two really good teams at the start of the season, and you lost the two games. Well, what are they doing these last 2 weeks? So that is something that I want to bring up because I'm just hearing all these questions. Do you feel like things are turning around? Do you feel like things are turning around? They haven't. They just happened to play the Titans. If they would have played any of the three teams that they played the previous week, last week, they probably wouldn't have won the game. So,
well, they probably would have been trailing quite a bit in the second half.
So I think it is important to realize that while 2-3 is a great opportunity, there hasn't been any turning point. There hasn't been any pivotal moment. We can't ignore in victory what would not be ignored in defeat.
I think there's a couple things I want to talk about there. I think one is a thing I'm writing about for Houston football, which I'll have out for the folks in the morning about the offensive line specifically, is like context is really helpful to the offensive line in like providing some excuses for them, but context also hurts them when you talk about what they were able to do the past couple of weeks. Cause like the Jaguars do not have a great pass rush and the Titans certainly don't either. And the Texans still allowed a little bit of pressure to not great pass rushes, but like, oh, well, they allowed a lot of pressure to really good pass rushes. The Buccaneers are 2 and the Rams are 4. So like, I tend to agree with a lot of what you said. And like when you put context on what they've accomplished in the half of football, and really it's a quarter and a little bit of football that looked good on offense. Yeah, it's very hard to take that and say, well, they could have done that against a healthy Ravens team, healthy Seattle, healthy San Fran, like the teams that are coming up. I think the only way you're wrong about that is if CJ Stroud was right and that big play was an inflection point and everything on the offense looks more cohesive and better for a long time from that point.
No, I agree.
That's the only way I think you end up being wrong about that.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I agree wholeheartedly, and that's why I'm saying that this can change. But they were very fortunate to be playing who they were playing, and they're very fortunate to be playing who they're playing right now with the Baltimore Ravens. I get all the chat where it's like you can only play who's in front of you. No shit. Like I mean, and obviously, like thanks for that. But I also think that when you win, you can kind of increase your confidence and you can boost your confidence to where maybe it turns into something that when you do play these better teams in 2 weeks, that it's something that you can build on. So I'm not sitting here saying that it can't be valuable. Like winning is valuable. And I think the bye week, I honestly think like on top of playing these two teams, I think the bye week could not be at a more perfect time for this team. Could not be at a more perfect time than this team. So that's all I'm saying. It's just I would keep an eye on this because we've been through this. Like we covered this very closely, and this isn't the first rodeo. This isn't the first time that we've seen a team start 0-3 and then start winning games against, teams. So the rally cry that we keep hearing about 2018, when we were front and center covering that team, Bill O'Brien was always getting pissed off at me for saying, well, this is kind of fool's gold. We've seen kind of what that looks like. So we're going to have to see like good efforts from start to finish before I feel like they've kind of turned the corner.
Yeah, you don't want the Tennessee success on offense at the back end of that game to be a false positive. Like, and I think the comment we both had on Monday after the game was, what you did against Tennessee means nothing if you don't continue to do it on offense and even improve from what you were able to do in Tennessee, because they still had a half plus of yuck slop offense that we saw from the first 3 weeks. And then They got a little bit better there at the back end, probably because Tennessee's not a talented enough team to withstand a whole game worth of the Texans. And they hit a couple big plays and did start to kind of turn the group. But yeah, if they don't build on it, the Tennessee thing can be one of those false positives that we saw a couple of times last year. Remember when we'd kind of look at portions of the game, be like, oh, Bobby might have figured it out here. And then they go in the next game and it's slop and they can't score in the second half of the next game. And it's like, okay, well, actually, Bobby didn't figure shit out. It's like, you don't want Tennessee to be a false positive. You have to build on that, and you have to take what worked and add to it throughout the course of these next few games and really start to get into what you had hoped this offense was going to look like, and certainly get further away from the way that it started the season.
All right, let's get to let's get back to DeMeco Ryans. The Christmas Day game is being brought up, the Christmas Day massacre. Let's hear what DeMeco Ryans had to say about that game in particular, one of the ugly points of last season.
It wasn't our best game in the Christmas game last year versus the Ravens. For me, you flush it. That wasn't, you put on the tape and you see that's not representative of who we are, what we're about. We didn't tackle well. We didn't score any points. It was not a good outing at all. And so we don't harp on the past and lean on this. Like, we got a new team this year, right? The Ravens have a new team. We don't just pick up where we left off last year. Like, how do we come together right now to do what we need to do on Sunday to win the game?
All right. Yeah, it was a definite ass whooping. I don't know. I don't think it's relevant now. I mean,
I don't think it's relevant at all.
If they want to use it as a rally cry, that's cool. But I mean, they were beat to crap against the Ravens. They were they were hanging by a thread. They needed the bye week. They were just trying to tread water towards the bye week, and Baltimore was just better. But I don't look at that as anything other than maybe something he can use as a rally cry. I just don't know that he works. I don't know that DeMeco really functions like that.
No, I don't. I mean, he loves to say, "Oh, new team, different team, new year," all that. So I don't know that matters. Maybe there's an individual player that he can maybe grab and say, "Hey, remember Christmas? Remember when they ruined your Christmas, Aziz? Remember when they ruined your Christmas, Henry?" And maybe there's an individual. I don't think it's a team. Like, I don't think you're throwing up I don't even remember what the final score was. I tried to forget it just like they did. You're not putting up, paper of the final score all over the weight room while they're lifting this week. Like, it's move on.
Yeah,
it mattered as much as 2023 Tampa mattered to this year's Tampa.
It's a way different year. I mean, it's a way different year. And the wide receiving crew was,
and it's a way different Ravens team too.
Yes. Probably more relevant than anything.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
All right. Malik says, love DeMeco, but is it just me or is he more corny lately? I don't know. He seemed tired today. I feel like he's been kind of the same all season, maybe.
I think Wednesday is always, it feels like that post-game press conference, he's always got some juice to him. And then Wednesday, he's always kind of like a lot lower than that first press conference of the week. And I don't know if I got to imagine Tuesday night into Wednesday is the busiest he is all week. So,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's the Malik. Logan says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident against the Ravens D-line?
I mean, they haven't been
5.
They haven't been a really good defensive line, even when they had some of their guys. Like, they've had some issues, and they haven't had Van Noy for some of these games. He's one of their pass rushers they rely on. There's always just the Texans offensive line factor. So, 5 or 6 out of 10, with 10 being you should smash them, 1 being you got no chance. Like, I probably lean, right past 5, somewhere between 5 and 6.
Yeah, I would say 5. Nick says, you cannot convince me that even with the injuries, the Ravens team is as bad as the Titans. That's not a good take. I mean, you don't have to put that's not a good take at the end. You obviously disagree with it. It's a terrible take. No, just say what yours is. I mean, my question would be, like, what would you need to see? They've won 1 game with Lamar Jackson. Their offensive line is almost as shitty as the Texans. They just lost Pro Bowl caliber defensive lineman. They lost their best linebacker. They lost their best corner. Their other corner is hurt. They have Zay Flowers. The ghost of DeAndre Hopkins is there too. And then you have Derrick Henry, who was just a couple of years ago the best player on one of the worst teams in the league in the Tennessee Titans. And he's not even playing well. He's kind of fumbling. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and debate it hardcore, but it's right there in front of you. Cooper Rush is their quarterback.
I'm glad you brought up the Ravens offensive line.
Terrible.
They're allowing a 40% pressure rate.
Terrible. And that's with Lamar.
Exactly.
They're
Imagine Cooper Rush getting pressured on a 40% rate.
They're still able to score points because they have Lamar. They're bad. They're really, really, really bad.
Yeah, their one win is against the hapless Browns team.
Yes, they are really, really, really bad right now. Truth with Ease says they will lose and no one will be fired. Man, if they lose this one, then you got to look at it like losing to the Titans.
It would be very disappointing to lose this game if Lamar Jackson doesn't play, which we all expect him to miss. It'd be very disappointing. You would have to. I don't know if it's a coach. I don't know if it's somebody would need to be the scapegoat, so to speak, for the early season failures. Someone.
Yes. 100%. CJ Stroud today, and again, he was limping. He had a sleeve on, not on the injury report. CJ Stroud was pretty good spirits. Feels like CJ's liking where the bye week is. He also mentioned, I don't know if you caught this. He mentioned in passing about how kind of the schedule last year and how much of a pain in the ass it was. Specifically the 3 games in 10 days against the Ravens, which, by the way, yeah, Ravens played 3 games in 10 days too. But that was always the funniest thing about that.
The Texans had come off their bye and then started the 3 games in 10 days too.
Yes, because they had Miami and then they did that. I always thought that was funny when you would hear 3 games in 10 days. It's well, the opponent had to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you can tell that Stroud likes this schedule a lot more, and he should. It lays out a lot better.
Yeah, if I could have played the Steelers last year instead of the Chiefs, I maybe would have been a little bit easier on the 2 games in 4 days. But they played the Chiefs and then the Ravens, 2 of the best teams in the AFC, back to back. That sucked. But yeah, Baltimore played the same amount of games, same amount of days as you did, and their bye week wasn't the week before their 3-10 started.
Let's talk about Texans Turf. Shout out to Dan and his squad for doing what they did for my backyard. You look through the portfolio, you look at everything that they've done, everything that they do around town in all types of neighborhoods. It's beautiful. And the pricing is the most fair in the game. I know this because I visited with many places before I decided I wanted to go the turf route. Whether you want putting greens, play areas, anything, they take care of it. They got the drainage. It's customized. They look out for you. If you need finance, they'll finance for you. And Dan and his team, they're just hardworking guys who get the job done. And no matter how big the job, no matter how small the job, they will handle it. And you will absolutely love it. Cannot wait to be in the backyard, the fire pit, once the weather allows that. And I know it's going to be a great experience. I know that it's going to look great, easy to clean up, no mud, nothing. Shout out to Dan and his team at TexansTurf.com.
Yeah, Texans Turf, they do a great job. Landry mentioned the stuff that you can see on the website. You can even get that free estimate set up right there on the website. And, man, walking outside, working on your golf game in the backyard, what could be better? Get you a putting green put in via Texans Turf, and maybe it'll make your game better. Maybe make those Saturday morning tee times a little bit easier to stomach because your short game's good because you worked on it in the backyard all week in the evenings. And I love the always clean, always green. You don't have to worry about year-round maintenance on your yard. Nah, Texans Turf takes care of you.
They do. And shout out to Dan for being the man and Texans Turf. Very lovely experience. So we have a situation with the Texans that is Interesting. Hopefully they don't have to worry about it, but you brought it up. The Cam Robinson replacement. Not who it would be. You have some news on this, the insurance policy, if you will.
Yeah, so yeah, we talked about car insurance and Cam insurance. They don't have Cam insurance anymore. They got rid of it. But the new offensive lineman that they signed off of the Panthers practice squad is listed as a tackle. And he has not played. His name's Jarrett Kingston. He's not played tackle at the NFL level. In the preseason when he's played, he played interior offensive line. But he played a little tackle in college, and he's listed as a tackle. And when you look at the height, weight, and all that kind of stuff, you're like, he doesn't really feel like a tackle. He doesn't really look like a tackle. And then I got an up close look at him. He kind of looks like he could go out there and play a little tackle if you needed him to. Now, he doesn't look like Trent Brown, who looks like a monster out there. But I was surprised that the Texans didn't go with Trent Brown for that. Now, obviously, if they get a little worried about Kingston being ready, they could use a practice squad promotion on Trent Brown. But listing Jarrett Kingston, their new offensive lineman, as the tackle, it would seem that he's the new Cam Robinson. He's the new other tackle that doesn't start with Blake Fisher. So I thought that's an interesting move by the Texans.
I think it's beyond interesting. The whole Cam Robinson trade, just to me, is just it doesn't align with what they so passionately say with their chest that they do with every move, and it doesn't set a precedent. But you would look. I'm just getting on the record so that it doesn't look hindsight. Like we focus on everything on this team from 1 to practice squad,
from 1 to 69.
From 1 to 69. Which is the point differential in the 3 games between DeMeco Ryans, Texans, and the Ravens, by the way. But I'm just getting on the record about this thing that I don't like. I don't like trading Cam Robinson.
I also, and I want to make this very clear. We could simultaneously not like that they spent the money on Cam Robinson and also not like that he's no longer on the team. Like those two things are not mutually exclusive.
No, because the money was already spent, and you saved a little bit, and it's like I like this guy in this role, but I don't like him in this role. Like Cam Robinson, starting tackle, not awesome. Cam Robinson, backup tackle, not too many better. Now, is it worth $12 million? Probably not, but not too many better.
I was walking over with another media member today, Landry, and we were talking about Dameon Pierce. And they said, "You think?"
Hey, bro, Alpha.
No, I wasn't walking around with Alpha Aaron. No,
boy, Aaron. I'm just gonna say this right now.
No, boy,
Aaron reminds me of my grandpa, man. Rest in peace, Ed Locker. Shout out to Ed Locker Field in Caddo Mills, Texas. He reminds me of my grandpa like crazy, and they don't look alike. They don't sound alike. They don't do anything alike. They couldn't be more opposite. But the reason he reminds me of my grandpa is because every holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, I would go hang out with my grandpa before everyone would get there. He would drink his Bloody Marys. He would be making the food. He would be doing whatever the hell he was doing. He was a super host. Basically, anyone in that town could go there and hang out with him. It was great because I got to spend time with him. But the disadvantage of hanging out with my grandpa early is as soon as he had one joke in his pocket, I had to hear it 65 more times because when my dad would come in, my aunt would come in, my other aunt would come in, my uncle Josie would come in, he would tell that exact same joke, and I would just have to sit there and watch the same joke 700 times. That is Aaron Wilson. Anytime he gets a joke that he thinks is funny in the building.
Hey, bro, Alpha Aaron here.
Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
All right.
So I was walking over with the media member. We were talking about Dameon Pierce. It's like why is he on the team? all these different teams have had a running back go down. Couldn't you have got something, even if it's a late round pick for him? And my thought process was if the fourth running back or fifth running back at this point, because British Brooks is technically a running back, but if Pierce is going to be inactive, if somebody would give you anything for him, get something for him, and there may not be anybody, get something for him, and then promote somebody for the practice squad, Gerard Jordan, I guess, and just have him be inactive. If that's the case, and then I was like, well, if Damian really wants to go somewhere, all he needs to do is tell him that he wants to play, because in that what got Ken Robinson out of town? I got a nice chuckle out of the media member.
All you got to do is say, I went out of town, and that's it.
I'd like to play. Well, we're not trading you. Well, you traded Cam Robinson. Well, that's okay. Sit down, Damian. I was like, well, all right.
There's a chance they might need Damian. They're kind of thin at running back.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
And that's the unfortunate thing is, it's just kind of like an emergency standby that you don't really trust. Dietology, can you go through the schedule quick? WL.
Oh, well, they lost to the Rams. They lost. No, that's not what he meant.
Look, we've gone through 11. Week 11 is what you need to go through to get to 5. 5-5 was the goal. And I'll go through it right now. We'll just get there. We'll go through the first like 60%. So you got
here. Let me pull it up on the screen so people can follow along.
You got obviously the Ravens this Sunday with Cooper Rush. Then you get the bye. Then you're going to play a 9 p.m. Monday night game against the Seattle Seahawks.
That's a winnable football game.
A winnable football game, but they are a good team. They are a very good team. Then you got San Francisco, who's beat to shit.
It's funny because my perception has flipped from Seattle and San Francisco. It's like I didn't really think that much of Seattle, and I thought highly of San Francisco. A few weeks into the season, it's flipped. San Fran's banged up. They got guys hurt. They can't get anybody healthy. And then Seattle's defense is playing really well. So it's kind of flipped there. But winnable for game against Seattle, and then San Francisco starts your 3-game homestand.
Yeah, and then you have San Francisco who's beat, and you have the 3-game homestand, and then you have Denver who's really good. And then you have Jacksonville, you have the revenge, and then you have Tennessee. So that's what you look at. Then you got Buffalo on a Thursday, and things get a little bit tougher. But that's you want to look up to Tennessee, and if you can be 5-5, and maybe even better, especially with this Ravens thing and all that.
Okay, so
you're in good shape.
2-3. Screw it. It's not impossible to go on a win streak here.
Not at all, especially with the bye and then the home games and the long time to prepare for Seattle. It's if you win this Ravens game, regardless of what you think they are, you lay it out. You're in pretty good position.
Somewhere between 5-5 and 7-3 is the goal there. Like 7-3 is obviously you just win until you get to Buffalo. But even 6-4, you'd be pretty pleased with that stretch there.
Yep.
So,
no doubt.
I think it's the 5-5 thing that you came up with is, I think that's just it's a great goal to try to get to. And if you're a little bit better, awesome. If you're a lot better, even better.
If you get to 5-5, you don't just punt on the season. You got to lay out the realistic path. So that's what we've laid out as the 5-5. Birdie Boy says, Landry, what do you got for Kaylee this week? I don't really know. I don't know what Kaylee really can say this week. I'm sure I'll think of something. I don't know if it's a grill. I don't know if it's really a grill session for him at this point. It's not great, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of Woody Marks questions.
Oh yeah. After what DeMeco Ryans said today, and he just kind of slid it in when he was talking about him. I'd like to see what does it take to get Jaden Higgins the ball a little bit more. DeMeco Ryan said we got to get Higgins the ball more. Okay, how do you do that?
You let him play more, maybe. I don't know.
Run him out of the slot like you did on that play.
Yeah, he had 2 20+ yard catches in the first couple games. I think he's a playmaker. He's got good instincts. Malik, by the way, what DeMeco wants, you're probably going to get too. Malik says, bro, don't know why you talk hypotheticals. In that case, if we didn't fumble in 2 games, we would have probably won. If CJ didn't miss throws, we can be 3-1. Yeah, I don't look at. I mean, my hypothetical is the Titans missed 2 field goals. That's about as far as it went. I don't look at field goals the same as 2 guys fumbling and it being a path and CJ missing throws. But that would be. I think he's rolling his eyes because someone said the CJ throws thing. But I don't know. But yeah, who knows? But shout out to Malik. T says if we lose Will, we still have Hunter. I don't think they're losing Will. Barnett and Horton. Beyond Sting, it's Kamari and practice squad guys.
Hey, you watch your mouth about Tremont Smith, damn it.
What's up with Jalen Smith?
Well, he's on IR.
When's he coming back? He's got what?
I think he's got another 3 weeks.
He's got another 3 weeks. He doesn't seem like he's that hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's funny because they've been slow to IR guys in the past, and I wonder if maybe they went too quick on him.
I mean, it's easy for me to say. He doesn't seem to be like in bad spirits. Cam Jam says, why don't we just put Stutes on the O-line, LMFAO?
Get you some pass sets here.
I think that's why he just answered your question without answering it. We just saw. Afternoon, Landry, Cody, and friends.
While I might be something that you'd have to go around, those guys would just go through. That would be the thing.
He said, are we still talking about blue pills, Chubbs, and Woodies?
Chubb and Woody.
Yes, we are.
Everybody knows full Woody's better than a half Chubb.
Finesse U says, does Alpha Aaron know about the sound drop? If so, what does he think? Because I catch myself randomly saying, well, Alpha Aaron does know about the sound drop.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
Because we had him record it for us.
Alpha Aaron recorded the Alpha Aaron.
Yeah, it's an authentic. That is not an impression. That is Alpha Aaron for us. We asked him if he would do it, and he did it. So shout out to ADub. He did that for us.
And I know some of the people that watch our stuff have been over on Aaron's stuff and brought the Alpha Aaron to his stuff. So
yeah.
It's an Alpha Aaron approved nickname.
Yeah, the radio background, the bit, like I'm very bit friendly, if you can't tell. Danny says, please ask why J Hig, why is he only playing 40% of snaps? Yeah, it is rather interesting that you went into the draft with wide receiver being a need, and then you drafted 2 guys with your first 3 picks, and you're still playing the guys that you thought that you needed wide receivers instead of those guys. And it's not like these guys don't make plays when they have opportunities. Like, I guess Higgins now has 3 catches for over 20. That's right.
Sounds about right.
I think he has 3 catches for over 20. What's his yards per catch? I bet it's pretty effing high.
Oh, this is the old this is the old Noah Brown thing where it's like if he qualified for yards per reception, he'd have like one of the best in on the team.
His YPC's got to be at least like 16, 17, something like that.
17.8. He has 5 receptions on 6 targets for 89 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 17.8. He's had receptions of 23, 28, and 24.
Billy McNatt, sorry for the mispronunciation, mi amigo. He says, did y'all catch the mic up DeMeco? He literally said what Landry said, run the ball more and QB sneak right here. Maybe he stays on top of offense now. I want to get into that, Billy. First of all,
Billy, are you in our brains here? Unplug, please.
Billy, you just threw us up an alley-oop.
That's a good place to go.
Before that, though, we got to get nerdy because nobody loves a good QB sneak like me. I'm a big QB sneak guy. And I asked CJ Stroud about the keys to a successful QB sneak. This is for the nerds.
You've had some success with the QB sneak this year. From your point of view, what goes into a successful quarterback sneak?
Just like using your legs, and of course it's up front. Like Jake does a really good job with Juice and Lake, and then Ed, and it's really just just trying to get your legs under you to try to push forward.
I like how he threw Lake and Tomlinson in there, even though he's getting rotated out from Juice Scruggs. It's nice. It's good. It's good leader job. Also, That's why Jalen Hurts is so damn good, because he can squat 1,000,000 pounds and those legs just keep churning.
Yeah. 657 hundo on the bar. All right. So let's get into this DeMeco thing, because I have a theory and you have a theory. I haven't asked you your theory. You haven't asked me my theory. But DeMeco's being kind of weird about this, not calling defensive plays and letting Matt Burke do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I know why. You think you know why. Let's hear DeMeco explaining it, and then we'll throw our theories at each other.
Calling the defense, what does it allow you to redistribute some of your time to other portions of the team? Like, where does it allow you to redistribute that?
Not calling it. I'm still locked in on the defense. I'm there. We're all talking on the headset. So defensively, offensively, I'm dialed in every phase. So we're all talking, seeing what adjustments and things we need to make, how they're playing us, what do we need to do to make the proper adjustments to help us to be in position to win the game.
Now, I had to be very cautious in the way I asked it, because I didn't want to give him like a cop-out answer. Like, I didn't want to say, oh, you're not involved with the defense anymore, so what do you do with the offense? Like, that's not the question. It clearly gives him more time to do something else. What do you use that extra time for? And then he kind of said, well, I'm still plugged in on the defense. It's like, that's not really what I'm looking for. Like, I was hoping he'd give us an idea of, what do you do now when you have this extra time? When you're not sitting over there fine-tuning the defense? What do you do? He did not. That's okay. My theory is he is a heavy influence when he wants to be to the offense. For instance, if he hears something or sees something that he doesn't like, he can change it. That's my theory. And I have this theory in large part because of the mic'd up, where he says, run it here, QB sneak, let's go. And then that's what they do.
My theory is,
I think he has veto power.
I think he's always had that. I don't think it matters whether he's doing this or not. I think
he uses it now.
Okay, good. If he is, good. But you could be right. My theory is this is like whenever the third stringer gets to play during homecoming. Like, I think that they were playing the Tennessee Titans, and DeMeco Ryans knows the Titans stink. So he decided he was going to let Matt Burke call plays. I don't think he looks at it as something that's permanent. And I think the fact that it got noticed, now he kind of feels weird about it, because now it's going to be a week-to-week thing. And he's going to, like, the question that hasn't been asked has been, is this going to be permanent? And I think if we ask him that, we'll ask him Friday. I know it's the off the record thing, but I'll ask him Friday. I think the answer would be no. So I think it's as simple as, it was handle my lightweight, didn't think it would get noticed. Now it's gotten noticed. And now all of a sudden it's kind of a thing where we're wondering, does DeMeco need to delegate and all that? Because here's the other thing. He's really good at calling defense. Like, no
shutouts on his credit as the Texans defensive play caller.
But like, nobody, like,
how many points has DeMeco Ryans allowed? Way more than Matt Burke's defenses.
Nobody wants DeMeco Ryans not to be like overseer of a defense. He's one of the better guys. So maybe my old teacher theory from the Texans Collective the other day is the way to go about it. He's just checking in on the offense right now till he thinks they got it going, and then he leaves. Okay, so do you really believe that the Texans are taking on the Chiefs later on in the season, and Mahomes is doing whatever he does, and DeMeco's just comfortable just sitting there letting Matt Burke call the defense? No, but I can. My original theory can be true without it being permanent, though. I don't believe he's fully turned over play calling duties to Matt Burke. Yeah. For the rest of the season, not at all. Yeah. Okay. So you don't believe that either. Good. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think this is a permanent thing. I definitely think he's checking in on the offense and feels like he needs to put some bumpers in for Nick Caley so that he stays on the straight and narrow. All right, let's shout out TDECU again, the greatness that is TDECU. They've been helping the Houston community for a long time. They got a big game at TDECU Stadium this weekend between the Cougs and Texas Tech, and it's also the official credit union of the Texans and CJ Stroud. And they got that nice debit card with a nice new Texans logo. And if you go to TDECU .org/Texans, you can get it, and you get 15% off the Texans team shop. And the perks don't end there, because when you do business with TDECU, they do a lot of the work for you, and they make life a lot less stress-free.
This is not your typical place that you put your money. Your credit union is not a slogan. It's how they operate their business. So many advantageous things that go your way when you're a member at TDECU, and you can get all those perks, including the 15% off the Texans gear with that Texans debit card when you sign up at TDECU. 15 Houston area locations, greater Houston area locations you can walk into, and you can get stuff started right there online with them as well. Your credit union, TDECU, insured by the NCUA, memberships required. They want to take care of you, take care of your money, and take away some of the painstaking, oh, this app's not working this time, or what's my bank doing? None of that with TDECU. They take care of you, and the perks, man, they just keep on coming with TDECU.
I said a lot less stress-free. I mean, a lot less stressful. So there you go. Yeah. Thanks for holding me accountable, my friend. I will be better. Toke with me. Yeah. A lot less stressful, not stress-free.
Yeah.
So there we go. Question for you, Cody. Do you agree with DeMeco Ryans? Do you think the Ravens are a scary offense without Lamar Jackson?
He was very complimentary of the Ravens players. I just don't believe that any of those guys that he talked about being explosive are explosive without Lamar getting them the football. Like, is there a way Cooper Rush can cobble together some drives and score some points? Absolutely. Can Derrick Henry still maybe get some things going? Sure. But you're not seeing first 4 weeks Ravens without Lamar Jackson. You're just not.
Well, you have a really good corner duo. And so, like, no matter what you want to say about Zay Flowers, Bateman, the ghost of DeAndre Hopkins, it's not the same. So I would say no, they're not. And I would say you could probably key on Derrick Henry. So I don't blame him for saying that, but I don't agree.
Coaches are just, they're overly respectful at the podium. They'll tell you third string Billy Bob is good if you ask him.
DeMeco should be extra respectful of the Ravens.
Well, yeah.
John Harbaugh's kind of his daddy.
Yeah, but even if it was a team that DeMeco Ryans owned and you asked him about that, he'd say, oh, well, that guy's really good. He can do some things. Like, he's not going up there dunking on people.
Woody Marks. Can Woody Marks help out his fellow rookies?
I wonder if there's some people in the building, and maybe the offensive coordinator, hopefully the offensive coordinator is one of them, that see, hey, a little bit more for Woody, and you got a lot more out of him. Like, can that affect Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel to an extent? Hey, we put him on the field. We finally just unleashed him. Let's see what happens when we do that with Jaden Higgins. Let's see what happens when we do that with Jalen Noel.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid point where it's like, well, we're seeing this from this guy, so don't stop. The other thing is, like, DeMeco Ryans trusts rookies. So when he sees a couple of guys that he would like to see more of, that's the cool thing about DeMeco. I think it's one of the most encouraging things is, as much as he's kind of old school, he does not, like, everyone's on an equal playing field for the most part on his defense. You know, I mean, he's willing to play young guys. He's willing to play vets. There's kind of a decent balance of it, but it's not like the Bill O'Briens of the world and the Nick Caleys of the world where you're kind of a little bit more hesitant to play rookies. DeMeco loves playing rookies, and that's something that without playing rookies, he's not the two-time defending AFC South coach and 2 playoff wins. So I think few people understand that more than he does.
Exactly. I think that, and for him to just kind of It wasn't a big one. He just kind of slid it in there. Jaden Higgins, nice play. We got to get him the ball more. Like, slide that in there. Wonder if when he's just kind of hanging out with the offense, he's like, hey, about 81. Get him the ball a little bit more, huh?
Maybe get it to him, perhaps.
When he checks in over there, he's like, we thought we were going to run this play. What about you run a play with 81 in it?
Yeah. Yeah. But this team's not good. Like, they're not at all good. They're depleted. If it were just Lamar, I would maybe even be kind of a little bit more respectful of the quality, but I mean, it's not just Lamar. It's a lot. It's a lot that they got going on. So
top 3 corners is rough for any team. Rough, much less a team that can't rush the passer consistently like them.
Yep. Big problem. All right. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. Tomorrow, little Thursday action. Nick Cayley's going to speak, and
defensive play caller Matt Burke will speak.
He's going to downplay that like crazy. It's actually going to be pretty funny.
Oh, I am not going to let him downplay that.
Okay, well, he's going to. That's going to be a good battle to watch tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that.
And then Frank Ross hopefully will have the answers to why Tommy Townsend forgot how to punt.
Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Subscribe, like, ride along. Use TDECU. Use Texans Turf. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. Talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. Get my pass sets here.